Hello and welcome to another episode of Momento Malum today. The wines of Burgundy and Champagne have been highly regarded for centuries. Like most of the world's finest wines, they're made up of entirely old cultivars of Vitis vinifera. The cultivars most strongly associated with these parts of France are Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, both of which are used for champagne, as well as red and white wines, respectively. These grape cultivars are now grown in many of the world's wine regions. But in the southern part of Burgundy, the red wines are mostly made out of the cultivar Gamay Noir, and several other cultivars, including Aligote, Melon, and Sassy. All of the above are used in Burgundy wines. Most grapevines are propagated vegetatively, so that individual vines of a cultivar are genetic duplicates of both the original seedlings and each other. While some cultivars may have originated in the regions with which they are now associated, others are thought to be of exotic origin, such as the ancient Romans. Although many cultivars have been produced through independent breeding programs since the mid-1800s, most cultivars are centuries old and are either first-generation domesticated vines or spontaneous crosses between wild vines and cultivars, as well as spontaneous crosses between cultivars. Such spontaneous crosses between cultivated varieties gave rise to cultivars such as Cabernet Sauvignon and several others. Most of the cultivars that have wild vines in their pedigree cannot have their pedigree fully analyzed, because many of these wild stock do not exist anymore, as they were not mass-propagated. As for those derived from different parents of cultivated form, as these old cultivars may be in production or in some sort of collection. To determine the pedigree of many of the Northeastern cultivars of French grape, Dr. John Bowers used genetic marker technology with a major focus on the cultivars Gamay Noir and Chardonnay, and here are the results. The cultivars will be seen on the next slide. As a result of these cultivars being morphologically similar, there are a few authors that think that they're close relatives. The genetic marker technology found that indeed these varieties are related, but none of the specific relationships determined by prior researchers were correct. The 17th century cultivar Aligote was suspected to be a seedling of Gouais Blanc and Chardonnay. Gamay Blanc was thought to be a seedling of Gamay Noir and Chardonnay, and was also considered to be a white form of Pinot Noir. Based on the observations that the wine cultivars had, it was found that cultivars that share the same region also share the same morphology, and several wine authors have proposed ecogeographic groupings for French wine grapes. Pinot Noir is one of the oldest of the French wine grapes in Burgundy, and also has a long history in other parts of northeastern France. It is plausible that Pinot Noir may have already been present in the Burgundy region at the time of Roman conquest. Another cultivar is called Gouais Blanc, a variety considered to be so mediocre that it was unsuccessfully banned at various times in France, and has since then fallen from favor. The variety was very widespread in northeastern France, and was found on all the mediocre sites, with better sites being reserved for rare cultivars, like Pinot Noir. Gouais Blanc is not native to France, but was likely introduced from elsewhere, and indeed it was found to be of Eastern European origin, and it goes by the name Huinich Weiss in their native location. This cultivar was speculated to be introduced to France in the 1st century by the Roman Emperor Probus. If you want to donate to my channel, the links are below. If you want to buy my book, you can also find that link in the description box below. Several lines were bred prior to the existence of Chardonnay, Gamay Noir, and Melon. And still others were mentioned in literature between 100 to 400 years ago. And still others were first described only in the late 19th century, such as the cultivars Gamay Blanc and Purien, although these lines may have existed prior to this era. It was found through various studies that Pinot Noir and Gauss Blanc are good parental combinations, likely due to the fact that these are distantly related. Various experiments found that the crossbreeding between these two cultivars will produce either yellow-white, pink, or dark purple grapes. Although Gauss Blanc has never been highly regarded, and is maintained only in a few grape variety collections to this day, its genetic potential as a parent has been clearly demonstrated. In terms of the genetic history behind these different cultivars, it was found that there was no self-pollinated lines, despite the grape's ability to self-pollinate, likely because the species is intolerant of inbreeding. It was found that all the studied varieties were in fact hybrids between Pinot Noir and Gauss Blanc, and the researcher concludes that modern breeding programs might benefit from using comparatively distant parents to create more variation. So to conclude, the genetic analysis found that most of the cultivars in Northeastern France are siblings born from the union of Pinot Noir and Gauss Blanc. And that about covers everything. Thank you for watching.